Okay, 4.15, the equation of a line given 2 points. So when you're asked to write the equation of a line, we know that you need two things, okay? Think of that equation, y equals mx plus b. What are those two things? One of them is going to be the slope, this guy right here, slope. Okay, so we need to find the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, and that is this guy right here, b, y-intercept. So previously you were given the slope and the point, and we had a slope and a point, and we can use that to find an equation of a line. Now, so to find the equation, we would substitute the slope in the general equation, y equals mx plus b, and then you'd substitute that point x, y in the equation from step 1 and solve for b. Okay. Now, what if you're not given the slope? What if you were given only 2 points? You still need to find the slope, and then you need to find the y-intercept. So you might have to remember the last lesson, which is how did we calculate the slope given 2 points? And just a quick recap, if you were given 2 points, let's say those points are -1 and 4, and let's say the other point was 2 and 5, how did you find the slope? So you have to say, well, one of these points, you have to make them to be x1 and y1, so we can make this x1, y1, and you made the other point x2 and y2, okay? And once you do that, use that nice little slope formula I gave you. So m, the slope, is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? And substitute your values. So the slope is going to be 5 minus 4 divided by 2 minus -1. And 5 minus 4, that's 1. 2 minus -1 is 2 plus 1, which is 3. And there's your slope. Okay? So now let's expand that. Let's look at an example where I'm giving you 2 points, and I'm now asking you not to determine just the slope, but determine the entire equation of the line. Okay? So 1 and 5 and -4 and -10. So 1 and 5 is going to represent my x1, y1, and -4 and -10 is going to represent my x2 and y2. Okay? So my slope, m, is going to be y2 minus y1, so -10 minus 5, divided by -4 minus 1. Okay? And so -10 minus 5 is -15, and -4 minus 1 is -5. And -15 divided by -5 is +3. So the slope is +3. Now, that's just the slope. I still want the equation. So just like before, you take the slope and you put it into your equation. Y equals 3x plus b. Now you have to take one of these 2 points. It doesn't matter which one. You pick any one. Pick the easier one, 1 and 5. It's probably easier to deal with smaller numbers and positive numbers. So if I substitute this point, so I'm going to write here, substitute the point 1, 5. So the y value is 5. So where I have y here, replace it with 5. So 5 equals 3x. So 3 times the x value is 1. Replace it. Okay, and then plus b. And just like any equation you're solving for the unknown, and you want to isolate the unknown. So I have 5 equals 3 plus b, and if I subtract 3 from both sides, or I just guess by inspection, 3 plus 2 is going to equal 5. So b is equal to 2. Okay, and once you have b, write your equation. Y equals 3x plus 2. Now you don't have to write 1 and 5 anymore. I'm just writing the general equation here for any x and y. The slope matters and the y-intercept matters here. So y equals 3x plus 2. Okay, and there's your equation. Let's try another example. -3 and 7 and 6 and 1. So here I'm going to make this one x1 and y1, and this one is x2 and y2. Okay, using the slope formula, find the slope. Y2 minus y1, so 1 minus 7, divided by x2 minus x1, 6 minus -3. Okay, 1 minus 7 is -6. 6 minus -3, the double negatives makes me add these two numbers together, so 9, and -6 over 9 in lowest terms, I can say is -2 over 3, and there's my slope. Okay, take your equation, y equals mx plus b, put in your slope, -2 over 3, multiplied by x plus b. Now the mission is to solve for b. Substitute a point. Okay, that's what you got to do. I'm going to choose to substitute the second point this time just to show you that it still works. So if y is equal to 1, I'm going to replace the y with a 1. Negative 2 over 3 multiplied by x, so that's 6. And then plus b, okay? What's 2/3 of 6? Well, that's just going to be negative 4, okay? So negative 4 plus b equals 1. And if I'm solving for b, I got to isolate. What happens if I add 4 to both sides? I get rid of this, and this becomes 5. So 5 equals b. Okay, and once you find your b value, you write the equation y equals, and then write your slope, which is negative 2 over 3 multiplied by x plus 5. Okay, let's look at this example. It's going to be an interesting one. Let's try and calculate the slope, x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, slope equals y2 minus y1, so 5 minus 8, x2 minus x1, so negative 3 minus negative 3. Interesting, huh? 5 minus 8 is negative 3. What's negative 3 minus negative 3? That's 0. You cannot divide by 0. There was a special case, though. This was a special line. What did you call a line that had a run of 0? No run. That was a vertical line. Vertical line. So the equation of a vertical line, so remember vertical line, here's an x-axis, here's an y-axis. This is my vertical line, it's happening at negative 3. The equation of a vertical line is that x equals negative 3. How do I know it's negative 3? Because a vertical line only has one x value. Look at your coordinate points. There's an x value of negative 3 and an x value of negative 3. The x value will always be negative 3. Any y value you can have, but the x value will only be negative 3. Okay, and that's why the equation is just x. X equals negative 3. Okay, so our summary. So when you have 2 points on a line, you can determine the equation by calculating the slope between the 2 points, or using the 2 points. And then you use one of the points, substitute into the equation, and solve for b, or the y-intercept. Okay, and when you're using one of these points, it does not matter. It doesn't matter which one. Any one will do. That you're one of the two that you're given. Okay, let's look at an application problem. Chantal got her hair cut at the beginning of September, but she's hoping to donate her hair to Locks of Love in the future. She has been measuring the length of her hair as it grows back. 2 months after her haircut, her hair was 23 centimeters long. So if I were to write this as a coordinate, I could write it as 2, 23. 6 months after her haircut, her hair was 29 centimeters long. As a coordinate, it would be 6 and 29. Okay. So A, if the length of Chantal's hair grows linearly, meaning as a line, determine an equation that will represent the relationship between the length of her hair and the number of months after September. So length of her hair and number of months. These are my two variables. So always make sure you create your let statement so you understand what variables we're using. So let x represent the number of months. Okay, and I'm going to let y represent the length of the hair. Okay, length of hair. And now I'm going to create my equation. So the x values here, 2 and 6, represent the number of months. The y values represent the length of her hair. And I'm going to use, I'm going to say this one is x1 and y1. And I'm going to say this one's x2 and y2. Okay, and I'm going to now find an equation of a line that will model this problem. So I need to find the slope. Slope is equal to y2 minus y1, so the 29 minus 23, divided by the x2 minus x1. So if you're not understanding what formula I'm using, it's slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So here x2 is going to be 6, x1 is going to be positive 2, so 6 minus 2. 29 minus 3 is equal to 6. 6 minus 2 is equal to 3. And so, 4, not 3. And so 6 over 4 written in lowest terms is 3 over 2. And that's my slope. Okay. So as I start creating my equation for the line, I can write y equals 3 over 2 times x plus b. Okay. So I need to find b now. Take one of the points. I'll pick 2 and 23. So the y value will be replaced here with 23. 3 over 2 is my slope. The x value will be replaced with 2. And then I have plus b. Solve for b. So here in this part of my equation, I can cancel the 2 from the top and the bottom. So I'm left with 23 equals 3 plus b. So by inspection, b would have to be 20. 20 plus 3 gives me 23. Or you could say subtract 3 from both sides and we solve for b nicely. So b is equal to 20. So I have m over here, I have b over here, and now I can create my equation. The equation is y equals 3 over 2 x plus 20. Okay, part B. In what month will Chantal's hair reach the required length of 45 centimeters? So we're being told that the length, and the length is represented by y. The length is 45 centimeters. Okay. What is the value of x? I need to find x. How many months will that take? Okay, so 45 is equal to 3 over 2 x plus 20. So what I'm doing here is I'm replacing the y with 45. Now I have to solve for x. And this is from the equation that I just found in part A. So let's solve for x. Okay, I have to, let's subtract 20 from both sides. So over here I have 25 equals 3 over 2x. And if I, let's say I multiply both sides by 2. Let's do this in red. So let's multiply this side by 2. Let's multiply this side by 2. Okay, and if I do that, I get 50 on the left, and on the right, 2's cancel, and I have 3x. And then my last step would be to divide by 3. Okay, so x is equal to 50 over 3. Okay, and as a decimal, 50 over 3 doesn't really help us, so I need a decimal, so it's going to be 16.67 months. So Chantal starts in September. Okay, so it says up here, she got her haircut at the beginning of September. So how long will it take to grow back? Well, 16.67 months. So 12 months goes from September to September. It's one full year. And then you need 4.67 months more. So it's October, November, December, January, February. So it's going to be in February. In February. Okay. Example 3. Determine the equation of a line with an x-intercept of 6 and the same y-intercept as the line 5x minus 2y minus 8. Okay, so x-intercept of 6, that gives us a coordinate already. That gives us the coordinate of 6, 0. Because remember, x and y-axis, here's your x, here's your y. The x-intercept is right there at 6. Where does the line cross the x-axis? Right there at 6. Now the y-coordinate is 0, so it has to be 6, 0. That's one of my coordinates. The other coordinate is the same y-intercept as this line. Okay, how do I get the y-intercept? Well, I know the y-intercept, the x value is 0. So why don't we substitute x equals 0 to find that y-intercept? Okay, so take the equation, 5 times x, so 5 times 0, minus 2y, minus 8 equals 0. 5 times 0 is just 0. So I have minus 2y minus 8 equals 0. Solve for y, okay? Add 8 to both sides, so negative 2y equals 8. If I divide both sides by negative 2, I get negative 4. So y equals negative 4. So now my y-intercept has the coordinates. Now x is going to be 0, and the y value is going to be negative 4. So in fact, it's going to be down here rather than up there. Okay. Oops. All right. So I have two coordinates. So let's make this one. X1, y1, and let's make this one x2, y2. And I can now use my slope formula to find the equation of this line. So slope equals so negative 4 minus 0 and 0 minus 6 for the x. So 0 minus 6. This is negative 4 over negative 6. And in lowest terms, it's going to be positive 2 over 3 because the double negatives cancel out. Okay? So y equals 2 over 3 times x. What about the y-intercept now? Do I need to find b? I don't think so. I have the y-intercept. It's right there. Negative 4. b is negative 4, so minus 4. I'm going to say here b is equal to -4. That number right there. That's what I'm going to put to the equation. And there you go. There's the equation of your line. And that ends the lesson for 4.50.